traders, this is Blake Morrow with ForexAnalytix, and you are listening to the week ahead video for February 13th, 2017. And this is going to be an important week because we have, centered around this week, testimony from Janet Yellen of the FOMC. She is set to testify on the semi-annual monetary policy report before the Senate and House Financial Services Committee on Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, this is important. This is also known as the Humphrey Hawkins, coined the Humphrey Hawkins testimony, but it's going to be important because the market really wants to know, is Janet Yellen affected by the new U.S. administration? And also, what are we going to do about the rising inflation that we see coming in the economy? And I'm going to show you a couple charts that reflect that, but ironically, or coincidentally at the same time, we have producer prices and consumer prices also being released this week, also with retail sales here in the US. So it's going to be pretty important data and testimony. So if you have any dollar exposure, you're going to want to watch it pretty closely. I'm going to take you over to the ForexAnalytix traffic light page, and what you'll see is we've had a little bit of a mixed bag with the dollar, but I'm going to take you over to the dollar index as a whole. First and foremost, you can see it right here, and you can see our traffic lights are showing, from a macro, candlestick, basic, harmonic, and Elliott wave is showing a bullish setup. But I'm going to just take you over to the basic charts because I actually uploaded these charts myself and the analysis myself. You can actually see that the dollar index, from this recent fall, we hit a support zone, and the support zone, we've had it on these charts, I want to say for literally the last like 2 or 3 weeks. We've had the support zone here, but you can notice that once we hit that support, we bounced up to the 38% retracement. So in my opinion, we are really just boxed in here, and we have this horizontal high here, touching that spot right there. That's a 38% retracement. If the dollar breaks higher, that may allow the dollar index to resume its uptrend. But if we hold here, this when we get a shallow retracement like this, when we're a 38% retracement, that is a recipe for a continuation if we can't break higher. So watching the dollar index the beginning of this week, I'm interested to see if the dollar can actually break higher before she testifies on Tuesday. I don't know if that's really going to happen, but it's something that we should all keep an eye on. But the charts I really wanted to point out today, one of them isn't even on ForexAnalytix. It's something that I follow personally, but it's not something that a lot of traders trade. But I want to take you over to copper, and I'm going to take you over to the other precious metals too. But you can see that copper has actually made a pretty big breakout, and because it's such a big breakout here, I think it's important that we watch that when you have copper rallying, that may not necessarily be a sign. It could be a sign that hey, the economy is improving globally, but I think it's more of a sign that inflation is starting to rise. And you can see it in the precious metals. Let me take you over to let's go over to silver really quick, and you can see silver right here. This is an important chart because we're actually pushing up against the 200-day moving average in silver. Now, normally, a 200-day moving average is one of those moving averages where I go, okay, are we above it? Are we below it? Not necessarily on, are we respecting it? But it depends on the asset class. And in this instance, you can see going way back here into 2015, you can see that right over here, we sat on the 200-day moving average. We came and we retested the 200-day moving average right over here in October of this last year. And here we are testing it again. The reason why that's so important, because if we do break those highs, copper can stage a rally up towards 19, or maybe the 618 retracement, or the underside of this trend line. That's important. Also, take a look at gold. Gold is one of those other, precious metals that I think we really need to monitor. And I'm going to take you over to the longer term chart. This is the longer term weekly chart. We have a multi-year trend line that's really cap prices. And I've been very reluctant to be bullish gold while we're below this trend line. But the way that you see the dollar acting in recent weeks and the way these precious metals are moving in recent weeks, I'm starting to be a, a believer that gold might actually break higher. And if gold breaks higher, that typically will lead to dollar weakness. So I think it's important that we understand that gold is pushing very basic technical analysis here. Previous support is acting as current resistance, but more importantly, if we get towards 1300 or we break above 1300, that could be extremely bullish for gold. Now, I'm going to just quickly take you over to the Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar has been holding up very, very well, and I'm going to take you over to the weekly chart of the Aussie. Take a look at this, this massive, resistance that you see here that we're coming up against 77 to 78 cents. It's again another zone. We have this massive trend line that we've rejected over here. We're pushing above it. We've got a lot of horizontal resistance. The Aussie dollar could really break out, and if inflation is starting to rise, and we're starting to see inflation, creep up, the question is, are the commodity currencies going to reflect that? I know a lot of people would think, well, maybe the Fed starts raising rates. Yes, they could, but how about these commodity currencies? Will the commodity currencies outpace the dollar in the event that inflation is really starting to rise globally? Anyway, that is our week ahead video for February 13th. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me and listening to this video. Also, if you haven't had a chance, make sure that you take our 10-day trial. It's only $1. You can sign up right here on the big button right on the front of our website. Have a great week, and I'll see you on Twitter. Remember, I'm Pipzar on Twitter, so I'll see you out there. All right, have a great day.